Hello and welcome. My name's Michaela Bauer, and I'm going to be presenting about why we must all become digital citizens. So, what is digital citizenship? The definition refers to the responsible use of technology by anyone who uses computers, the internet, and digital devices to engage with society on any level. Examples of digital citizenship would be online banking, online shopping, social media, forums, groups, chats, and even working. We, as a 21st century, use technology constantly. So it's hard to just limit to these few things, but these are just some of the ones I could come up with. Okay, there is multiple characteristics of digital citizenship and what's important, and I've got these laid out on the next few slides. So the first one is empathy, and this is teaching students that online there is a lack of tone, facial expression, nonverbal cues, and not to make quick, harsh judgments without having all the information. When we are one-on-one or in a group, we can easily read, people's body languages, which is very hard to do online because it's cut and dry. And so teaching kids that no, maybe they didn't mean that tone when the message came across is important so that we don't jump to conclusions and miscommunicate things. The second part is use of the internet. In brief, this is just the use of connection through servers, computers, and web browsers through a network of wired and wireless connections. I really think that students, as well as adults, don't always realize that there's more than just logging on to a screen and going to internet browsers. There is lots of different ways in which it takes to make our technology actually work through, like servers and lots of technology, even above what I honestly really understand. The next set is user data. Websites learn through cookies how to track your personal likes and dislikes. As a result, they are tracking to see what your digital footprint is. Teaching students about digital footprint is important because when you visit certain websites, it learns what you like and dislike. And if you go to websites that aren't best, it might associate you with those websites. So making sure we understand that when we click on links, it's not just a link to that website. It could lead to many more websites of similarity. The next one is practicing digital literacy. This is the practice of reading information online and understanding what it means, where it originated, and whether it's accurate. Some examples that we would see online is like clickbait, fake news, and empathy. It's just like regular literacy, reading what you read in a book or in a magazine and understanding it, but instead this just applies to online. The fifth one is acknowledging the digital divide. This is the difference between those who have access to modern digital tools and those who do not. And one of the statistics that kind of blew my mind is that you would think with how technology has progressed that, at least in America, we would have everyone would be online, but actually only 75.23% of Americans have internet. And in the article, it mentioned that in the Midwest, rural areas really struggle to have internet, and that's actually that actually applies right here in Oakley, Kansas. We have certain areas that if you get too far west or south in our county, that a hotspot, a wireless signal just does not reach. And so we have kids who they commute 20 plus 30 minutes. And when they go home, they don't always have internet when they go home. So it's important that at school they get that. The digital divide also can be applied to as simple as the way in which a 10-year-old uses technology is completely different to a 20-year-old or a 30 or a 60 or a 90-year-old. The way we use technology and the way it's morphed is different depending on generations as well. Our sixth characteristic is practicing digital wellness. Learn how to refrain from indulging in the internet and digital media for unreasonable amounts of time. And we hear this all the time, screen time limits, limiting screen time. I know parents at my school who will say that when the kids come home, they only get, either an hour of TV or an hour of iPads or tablets, whatever, because they're really trying to work on limiting that screen time. Um, so our next step is securing digital devices, knowing how to actively protect yourself, computers, smartphones, tablets, and more. It's simple enough with like a smartphone or a computer. We can put a password on it, which is simple because that should protect you from just any random person coming up and looking at your computer, your phone. But the next step would be VPNs. I spelled that wrong. My apologies. VPNs, um, which protect your servers and your networks, and then it's always good to install on your computers or your devices, if you can, antivirus software, because you never know when you're going to open a link online and it could be a bad link and it could have a virus on it. So number 8 is, again, literacy, which is understanding the difference between useful information and spam. This is knowing which search engines are safe to use and not to use, knowing how to properly search information, and knowing reputable sites. So again, this goes back to what I was saying in the last slide about, our virus software. You could click on a link you think that is completely harmless, and it could be bad. It could have a bug in it of some sorts, and it could hack your computer, hack everything. And just maybe teaching students how to properly understand how to use the internet, and knowing how to search things that can lead to appropriate sites. Step or characteristic number 9 is cyberbullying prevention. Engage in respectful online usage, reporting inappropriate behavior immediately. And when we do this, we need to observe, document, and report. And as a teacher, as an administrator, as an adult, it is important that we model respectful and appropriate behaviors. If a student sends an email or sends a message to another kid that's inappropriate, talking to the kids about, is this kind? Can you see how this is considered cyberbullying? And this is, where we are fortunate at Oakley that our tech guy, he is really on top of it. And I would think most schools are like this, that if our students send a message, even if it's in a document, on a chat, or even in an email, there's those key words and characteristics, sentences or phrases that pop up, and they send an alert so that we know, okay, this could be a form of cyberbullying or, bullying online. The 10th characteristic is a pretty big and important one. It's the health and emotional wellness in the digital world. Technology can be an addiction, and it can have detrimental effects on our health. This can lead to mental stress, eye problems, ergonomic issues, and dietary issues. Making the balance between online use, being active and social, is important, but also limiting that screen time is as well very, very important. Think about if you sit in an office chair all day and you stare at a screen, that sitting, staring, that's going to affect lots of things, not only your body physically of sitting, but then also your eyes of looking at the screen. All that screen time is not good and can affect them. And the way also our students have trouble understanding that you need to go outside, have fun, play, and get away from the screens, because that time right there, the social interactions between kids is also very important in real life. Not that it isn't online via technology and screen time, but it is as well very important for them to get out and actually play. Okay, So, what are E-rates, CIPA, and what is its availability and services? So, these things are federal programs through which schools and libraries can apply for funds to purchase hardware, internet access, telecommunications. Um, the This is what the E-rates are. The CIPA is the Child Initiative Protective Act, which protects students or kids while they're online. This is available for all K through 12 public schools charters, all nonprofit K through 12, which would be a private or a parochial school, all public libraries, and a public elementary or secondary school libraries that are separate from the school. So um, those are what it's available for. And the services that can be available with these funds are data transmission, internet access, internet connections, broadband management, maintenance of technology, and fees and charges. So continuing on with these. For these services to be available, schools need to certify that not only schools, but schools and libraries have taken the measurements to protect the safety of minors. That's what the CIPA Act is about, is protecting children. Some of it is having limited access, monitor online activity of students, filtering and blocking obscene materials, provide reasonable public notice of internet safety policies, cyberbullying awareness and response, and just, educating our students on what internet safety is. This leads into a couple of acronyms that I saw throughout the reading that seemed they really stuck out to me and seemed important to be teaching students. The first one is READY. The R stands for remind, so be mindful of what information and options are made public, if those posts are positive and negative. E is to encourage. Take time away from screens to hang out with friends, family. This goes back to that health, wellness, nutrition. That 10th characteristic, I believe, was so important. The A is accountability, using the internet properly and safely, which can be done through teaching through certain types of curriculum. D is to demonstrate. This is understanding copyright laws and protection. And Y is yes, to model positive use of websites instead of blocking or locking them. Yes, we can block them. We can lock websites all day long for our kids not to get on. At least at school, but that doesn't mean that they're going to go over to a friend's house and get on those inappropriate websites, So we would need to educate and model how to use it properly. The second acronym is REP. This R stands for respect yourself and others. This is through technology. It affects others, via tests, tweets, messages, posts. Remember to be courteous when online. You don't know who is on the other side of that screen and how what you're going to say is going to affect them. E is to educate yourself and others. Not everything you read on the internet is true. Find out if the information has validity before quoting others. There's that phrase, well, if it's on the internet, it must be true. Ha ha. Not really. And it's important that we let our kids know that, because with the internet and technology being how it is, you can access almost any information to prove any point that you want. So helping students to do that safely is important. Protecting yourself and others. Remain safe online. Use the tools learned earlier about data, software, and password protection. So, we talked about earlier in the presentation from the characteristics about having software viruses and passcodes on your phones and computers. So this leads into actual curriculum that we could use to teach. This also goes with the CIP and E-rate compliance. So the first one I would like to talk about is the common sense education. This one breaks the curriculum down into an easy sequencing for grades, so it makes sense at the appropriate age level. The first set is K2, then 3-5, 6.8 and 9.12. And again, like I said, this curriculum covers the E-rate and the CIPA Act. Some of the things it's going to talk about is privacy and security, digital footprint and reputations, self-image and identity, creative credit and copyright,